Good morning, students. In the last class, I tried to give introduction about the PLC. In the introduction point of view, we discussed one example, automation of the classroom. Right? While doing automation of the classroom, to control the loads present in this particular room, like fans, lights, and AC, how these are going to be controlled from manual to automation. Right. In this process, I gave an example like how you are going to be controlled manually, how you are going to be controlled using microcontroller. Then what is the way we are going to be controlled same loads by taking input parameter values using different sensors in the field areas in industries. All right. So to control whatever the loads in this particular room or to automate this particular room, controller is enough, even microprocessor is enough to control or to automate this particular loads in this particular room. But to same automation, if you want to perform in industry, we need to design some robust computer controlled device, that is PLC, to automate the process or to control or to operate the process in industries. Right. So for that one, in the last class we discussed this these points, right. One by one we just recollect how we are going to be controlled this room loads, right, whatever the loads we have, fan, light and AC, manually. And then I tried to explain how we are going to be controlled using the controller. Then what is the need to upgrade this particular automation system, and how you can automate the automate the system to control or to automate the industry. Even I given examples like steel plant, Coromandel or something NTPC like that in the last class. Right. So in this, at the end, we try to design one system by comparing with this particular normal computer in the whatever you are using computer. Right. So by comparing this particular computer, I given some example as well as I tried to design some circuitry, some system to automate the things in the industry. Right. So that is basically I discussed by comparing with some examples and all those things. Now exactly we are going inside to the subject, programmable logic controllers. In this semester we are going to discuss programmable logic controllers. All right. So hardware point of view, what are the different functional modules are there in the PLC, we are going to discuss, as well as the software point of view, what are the languages are there, how you can write program by using that particular software. That means by learning different types of instruction, we are trying to write a program for the different applications in industry. All right. So that is at the finally we are going to be develop hardware interfacing circuitry, as well as we are able to write a programming for different industrial application. That is the thing you are going to study in this particular PLC, programmable logic controller, in this semester. In the last semester, we already studied microprocessor and microcontroller, especially 8085 and 8086 microprocessor, as well as 8051 controller. Right. So same thing. At that time also I given explanations like this: 8085 architecture, that means hardware configuration, then what are the instructions you can understand, how you can write a program, and what are the extra peripherals required to increase the performance of the system. Right. Finally, I given some applications to work on some projects, right, by using 8085, 86 as well as 8051. At that time also I given I explained like this by comparing with human functionality, as well as every time I use it to compare the system we are using to explain 8085 operation or 8086 operation or 8051 microcontroller. Right. So we use it to same function, but the thing is that to work in industrial atmosphere, we need to change some hardware circuitry. That means we need to upgrade some hardware circuitry to accommodate with industry atmosphere. to accommodate with industry atmosphere means what are the difference between this room and industry. In this room there is no noise, right, there is no vibrations, there is no electrical fluctuations, there is no dust, right. Here there is no robust operations are not going to be takes place. These are the minimum things, and maximum thing is that here the loads are not very specifications are not high end, right. That means motors ratings are not very high, but in the industry even to sense the parameter values or to control the output devices also there is so much of voltage levels, variation of voltage levels, that means load levels, that's the difference is there. These are from normal atmospheric differences as well as some these technical differences are there, right, to accommodate or to upgrade to the technical specifications as well as to upgrade it to or to work with that atmosphere. Atmosphere means for different high noise, for high vibration as well as for high electrical fluctuations, dust atmosphere and robust atmosphere. We need to change this particular system. Whatever the process, now we are going to be controlling using computer only. Computer means processor only. For the processor only we are adding some extra peripherals for different applications. For particular application we are adding different extra peripherals to make total overall system to work with that particular application, right. So to design system for industry application we need to consider all these points. What are the points? These disturbances, all these disturbances as well as to accommodate with high grade technical specifications, right. To keep in mind these two things, we need to upgrade system that is going to be operated with the computer. Whenever you want to upgrade, right, whenever you want to upgrade to that particular atmosphere, definitely the hardware design is going to be varied and the way we are going to be connect with external peripherals or to input device or to output device, everything is going to be changed. But the basic way of operation is same. Basic way of operation is very simple, as like human beings only. How we are sensing, doing something logic activation in the mind, we are controlling. For example, if simple example, I want you stand up, right. What you are going to do? We are going to be here with ears, and internal logic is going to be activated. Then actuator legs are going to be come into the picture. That means simple thing, sensing, doing something in the mind, that is in brain, and activating, right. So human beings also very simple, sensing through the sensing organs, activating some logic based on the input he is getting and doing something, right. In the last semester also I given same example to explain 8085 or 86 or 8051 control also. Using any one of that part, that device, we are doing simple thing, sensing something, activating some logic inside the processor and controlling the output device. Very simple. This is only takes place. Sensing, activating some logic in the mind and controlling the output device. So in industry we need to automate to minimize human manpower as well as to minimize cost of operation. That means with minimum cost, with minimum human power, without any losses like human that means any it's not going to be disturbance to anyone, right. So using that we need to operate the industry as well as you to get the maximum output from the industry. Then any process with minimum human power, with minimum cost, without damage to the atmosphere or without damage to human power, if you able to produce maximum output, then that is the best process, that is the best industry, right. That is the best way of control, or that is the best way of automation of the industry. So finally what? So to automate thing, definitely we need to use computer only. But the thing is that while using computer, we need to design. Finally, what you need to understand from all this discussion is that we are designing some circuitry such as which one is suitable to the industry, right? That is using computer. That is computer control device, that is programmable logic controller. We are going to be used to automate the process in industry, right? So to discuss one by one anything, previously also we discussed things in the similar fashion. Here also we are going to discuss first what are the hardware circuitry, then what are the instructions it can understand, then how we are going to write a program for the different application. These is the 3 points we are going to be discussed overall in this particular subject. So first thing we need to understand that what are the functional blocks in the PLC, right? So and how each functional block is contributing towards the high-end operation, Finally, how overall functional units combinedly working together to operate or to control, so to automate the process, right? So overall, you can see here the PLC pictures, right? So this is the PLC control panel. In this control panel, we have so many things, but overall in all these things we have a input, processor and output. Simply you can say that, right? So by this is the we are going to design, or we need to discuss the PLC system. In this PLC system, what are the functional blocks are there? What is the function of each block? How collaboratively all the functional blocks are working together. Finally, how PLC is going to be work. That is going to be understood by the students. At the end, student able to identify the different functional blocks. What is the function of each block? Then collaboratively all the functional units how are working to get the output, the final automation. All right. So overall, how PLC is going to be working, that is we are going to be discussed next. See, this is the functional block diagram, basic functional block diagram of PLC. All right. So if you look at this particular basic functional block diagram, you can see two functional blocks. One is all are integrated on the same. Right. One is integrated on the same device. Here is modular. That means different modules are combinedly placing in the one rack to overall work as a programming device. That means to overall working as a PLC. Right. This one is the modular type. That means different modules are put together as one unit in racks. Overall units are going to be combinedly work as a PLC. This is embedded device. All the whatever the functional units are there, all are embedded in the single block, right? This one is the fixed type, right? How these are going to be embedded, how they are going to be modular or going to be placed in the rack, we will discuss later on, right? By this time, we are going to be discuss what are the functional units in this particular, whether in modular type or in the fixed type, right? And then what is the use of each functional unit, right? If you look at both the things, whether it's a fixed one or modular one, in the both the things you can see CPU, memory, right, input output and power supply, input output power supply. If you discuss one thing, no need to discuss second thing. Only difference is here is integrated on the same module, there different modules. You can see here power supply module, CPU module, input module, output module, or different modules are there. All are going to be placed in the one rack. That is overall acting like a PLC. If any one module, the advantage is here is what? If there is any damage in input module, you take out input module and you can place new input module. If there is any problem in the power supply module, you can take out power supply module and you can place another power supply module. Alright. So, but in fixed type, that chance is not there. There is no chance to replace. If there is any damage in input or output or in a processor, you need to replace with new module, overall PLC module. That is the main drawback is there. Another drawback is what? If you want to extend any CPU or IN, if you want to replace that means higher version CPU with old one, that means with processor with higher version processor with lower version processor, directly you can take out CPU module and you can place another CPU module. As well as if input module, if you want to extend number of inputs and outputs, you can replace with a new IO module. You can replace with new IO module. But here is that option is not there. That is all we will discuss later on in the latter slide. But here is our intention is what? What are the functional units in PLC and what is the function of each unit, right. So I am going to discuss about different functional units in this particular modular type, Why? Because nowadays modular type PLCs only we are going to be used in industries to automate the process, You can see this picture also. Here different modules are there, all are going to be placed in one panel. Overall, nowadays this modular type PLCs only are going to be used in the industries, right. So, okay, now you can see here what are the functional units are there. One is CPU, you can see this one CPU, right. Another one is memory unit, another one is input module, another one is output module, another one is power supply module, and then programming device. Inputs are there, outputs are there. Inputs or outputs are there. Inputs are connected with input module, outputs are connected with output module, right. So, these are what are there? CPU is there. In CPU, that means in processor module, CPU is there, memory is there, right, and IO modules, input module and output module is there. Then power supply is there, then programming device. These are the main functional blocks in PLC system, basic PLC system. In the day by day, we are going to be add peripherals and communication units to increase capability of the PLC device for high-end operations, But basic things are, these are the modules in PLC, right. We will see what is the use of each one now, right. So, in this processor module, what are there? In CPU module, this is the processor and memory, right. Processor and memory. First, in this CPU module, what are there? In the first thing is what? CPU. In CPU, what are there? In first module, first one, what are there? This processor is there and memory is there, alright. So, in this basic class, simply I am giving what is the use of each functional block. Then in the later classes, we are going to be extend application of each module little bit more, right. By this time, basically we need to understand what is the use of each functional unit, right. So, now in CPU module, what is there? Processor is there, memory is there. So, in the last semester also, while discussing this microprocessor and controller, especially in microprocessor in 80 and 85 and 86 also, I clearly explained processor is going to be act like a CPU, right. Processor is going to act like a CPU. There is no internal memory in the processor. There is no enough internal memory to store the OS, or that means operating system program, or to store the user programs, or to store the data, right. Even in our computer also, there is in CPU, processor is separate and memory module is separate. Both are going to be interfaced, not going to be that means while designing only, it's not integrated on the same chip. Both are separate chips. Processor chip is separate and this particular memory chip is separate, right? So now we'll see what are the processors are there and what is the advantage of one by one processor by upgrading the processor, what are the extra advantages come into the picture in the next class, especially while discussing about the processor. But by this time you need to understand that what is the use of processor here. Here, what is the use of processor? What is the use of processor? Processor can perform. So previously also we discussed what processor means. For example, here I used 8086 processor. What it is going to be perform? It can perform arithmetic and logical operations. It can control the operations. That means it can give control signals to the devices which is going to be interfaced with the processor, whether it is input device or output device, right? It is going to be interfaced and it's going to be controlled, right? It is going to be addressed. It can give address signal, it can give some control signal, it can give some status signal, it can read the data. It can read the data. That means what? Finally what? It is going to be provide that means control signals, status signals and synchronization signals. Apart, overall, all main function of processor is what? It can perform arithmetic and logical operations. In processor, you know that ALU is there, control unit is there and some registers are there, alright. So specially ALU is to perform arithmetic and logical operation. Here also ALU we have internally, that is used to provide it is used to perform arithmetic and logical operation. Control unit is there, that is going to provide the control, synchronization and status signals. Some registers are there, only few number of registers based on the processor, right. So those registers are used to store the data temporarily inside to the processor. Those registers are not enough to store the OS or operating system that means operating system program or user program or data, user data. To store this particular logical operations, control signals, that means control operations and status signals and synchronization signals. Synchronization operation. These are the operations is going to be performed by the processor. And second one, memory is there, this one. You know, different memories are there, those are going to be discussed later on. By this time you need to understand that every memory, here also in the computer also we have RAM and ROM, right. So both memories are there. Basic thing is ROM and RAM. Right. So ROM, what is the use of ROM? Read only memory. This one is the RAM, random access memory. Read only memory going to be used to store OS programs, operating system programs, right. Even though power is lost, these programs are not going to be erased, right. Read only memory is used to store only operating system program. Even power is lost, programs are not going to be erased. But in this RAM is going to be used, right. Program, that means user programs, right, user programs, and second thing is user data also, right. So here is what you can see here. ROM is used to store the OS, operating system program. RAM is used to store the user programs. User program means what? What program you are going to be write. What program means what? What application you want to control. That means what process you want to control. Based on the application, you are going to write some program, right. That program is going to become the user program. That is going to be stored in the ROM. As well as data. User data means what? User data means input data you are providing to the input module. From the input module, it is going to the CPU module. That means you are giving input data. That is going to be stored in the ROM only, right. So these user programs and user data is going to be erased if power is lost. That is the reason backup power is you need to provide. Once your backup power is provided, these user programs are going to be retrieved and current data is going to be taken. It's going to work on that particular logic you have written, and it's going to control the output device. So right, by this point you need to understand is what? So memory is there. In memory we have a ROM and RAM. ROM is used to store the operating system programs. RAM is used to store the user programs and user data. This is, even the power is lost, OS operating system programs are not going to be erased. Here once power is lost, there is erase, user programs are going to be vanished. So to rectify this problem, you need to provide the external power backup. So this is the simple understanding of what is the use of this CPU module in this particular PLC system, PLC basic system. Right. So overall, what you need to understand, this is going to be acting like a brain. This is going to be acting like a brain. So brain, what is our brain is going to be performed, right? It is going to be stored input data. For example, you asked one question, he is going to be asked one question. I am taking this data and storing in this my mind, right? So that is memory. But here is embedded memory. If this memory is not enough, I am going to use one book. That is going to become external memory, right? If 100 people is given data, or for example 100 is very high, if 8 people is given data, I cannot store in my mind in internal memory. What I will do, I will write in the external memory. So even though here also memory are going to be used, external memory. This one, that is going to be stored input data. Then what I have to do on that particular one, that is the logic. That is also going to be performed by the processor. Then you will get some result. That result is going to be need to be out. I need to out. That output data is also going to be first stored in the ROM. Then it is outing to the output device through the output module in this particular application. Right. Overall, we need to understand is that CPU module is used to store the input data, used to store the what operation you want to perform, corresponding program, right? Then activate some logic according to that particular program you written. Then it is going to be updated the output device. It is going to be that means output data is going to be stored in the ROM. From that it is going to be outing, and then output device will take care, right? So overall, that is the function of CPU in this particular PLC system. Then this one is completed. This one is all right. This one is completed, right? What is the use of CPU module? Then what are the another module is there? Input module. This one you can see. This one is the input module. All right. So this is the module means what? In this module we have some circuitry. That circuitry should be designed in such a manner that proper interfacing should be takes place between the input devices and CPU. You can see here. Where is this one? Say input module in between the processor and input device. That means what? Input device, or we are going to be connected to the input module. From the input module, signal is going to be acting like an input to the CPU. Here, right? So in between CPU module and input device, this input module is there, right? So in industry we need to be take parameter values from the different places, from very long distances, from 1000 meters also, right? If steel plant, if you consider, in any unit you consider, so many sensors and transducers are there to get the current values of, for example, pressure sensor, temperature sensor, level sensor, some other sensors are there. Those are going to be give current data every time at the particular time. What is the value of pressure? What is the value of temperature? What is the value of level? Everything is going to be take sensors and transducers are pick upping some values that signals we are going to be get to the input module. Those are, this is the push button, this is also push button, this is the pressure switch, this is the temperature switch. These are all going to be connecting to the input module, right? So what now? These are all field devices are connecting directly to the input module, From the input module, you are connecting to the CPU. If anything, if you want to connect interface, for example, in between you and your girlfriend, I want to interface, what I have to do? I can able to take data from you and I can able to transfer data to that particular girl, right? That is the way interfacing means. Interfacing means the device which is there in between this device and this device is capable to interface. That means whatever the signal you are getting, whether the same signal I can transfer to her or I want to do something inside, then compatible signal I have to pass, right? Directly the same signal you cannot pass. We need to optimize that particular signal, or you need to control that particular signal which is suitable to give to this particular person. In the similar way, whatever the signals you are getting from the input sensor, same signals you cannot give to the CPU module. What signals it can take, that is only we can give. So in this perspective, we need to understand that. So first we need to look in what are the different signals we are going to get from the field device to the input module, and what signal it can out to CPU module, right? We all know that whatever the devices we are using in computer, or in the last semester we discussed using microprocessor interfacing circuit. If you want to give any signal to the CPU, that means to the processor, you cannot give I values. I values means you cannot give 120 volts DC or 120 volts AC or 220 volts AC or 220 volts DC to the processor. These all devices are going to be take 5 volts as an input or 12 volts as an input, maximum 5 volts as an input. If you consider processor, you can give only 5 volts or 0 volts, and in between 0 and 5 volts as an input, right? So that means what? This is CPU is there, this CPU, this for example, this is the input module. This CPU can take only 5 volts DC, 5 volts DC signal. But here field device which are going to be connected to the input module may be 24 volts DC or 220 volts AC, right? 20 volts DC, right? Like that. Different signals, 230 volts AC, right? Different signals are going to be different signals is going to get from the different sensors to the CPU module, right? But this is going to take only 5 volts, right? So we need to design such a circuit in between CPU and field sensors or transducers, right? Some circuitry you need to design. That circuitry function is what? It should be interfacing in such a manner that compatible signal which is going to be take as an input to the CPU, that is need to be provided, right? So that means what? Whether it's 5 volts or 0 volts DC is going to give as an input to the CPU. High value or low value is going to be give as an input to the CPU. Or in between this particular values is going to give as a input to the CPU, right? So now in this circuitry, what we have to do? What you are going to be expected? It's going to be expected, right? Something circuitry should be there to rectify. That means, for example, it's AC signal, we need to use bridge rectifier to convert AC signal to the DC signal. For example, if input is DC, we need to step down the particular DC value to the some lower level. Then we need to use some regulator to regulate the particular voltage by using Zener diode like that. Then we are going to be you need to be isolate. That means from this the electrical fluctuations should not be damage the CPU, should not be damage the CPU. That means some isolated circuitries you need to be designed. So overall, what are the functional blocks inside the IO module and how they are going to be function, we will discuss in the next class. But the thing is that overall you need to understand that some circuitry is there inside the IO module. That is what? That is should be able to interface and should be able to isolate CPU module from fluctuations coming out from the input sensors or transducer. The one is what? We need to isolate from what are the fluctuations we are getting in sensor output values or output values should not be damaged to the CPU. And second thing is compatible voltage levels are different coming out from the input sensors and transducers, right? That level is not going to be given as a input to the CPU module. That is the reason we need to minimize that value. The minimize means step down that particular value. You need to out the compatible in values to give as an input to the CPU. So compatible values are what? That is from 0 volts DC to the 5 volts DC, right? Normally these are 0 or 5 volts we are going to give as an input to the CPU by using the switches. Different types of switches we are going to use in different places in the industry to sense the parameter values. So overall, basically what you need to understand is that this IO module, whatever the IO module is there here, this IO module, input module, especially input module is going to be used to connect to the input sensors and transducers as the input, and it is going to give output signal to the processor. That means output signal from the input module as acting like a input signal to the CPU module, right? So here overall you need to understand that input module is taking values from the sensors and transducers and giving value as an input to the CPU. That means it is this module, input module, is acting like a interfacing device between the sensors and CPU, right? We need to design such a circuit in between CPU and sensors that these fluctuations should not affect the CPU as well as the values coming to the input module, and the outing value should not same, right? So these, if higher values are there, that higher value should be step down, and compatible signal we need to out from input module to the CPU, right? So this is the function of input module here, right? In the similar way, output module is there. So this is also completed. This is also completed, right? So now we will look into the output module. So output module, similar way. Output module is similar, exactly opposite like an input module, right? Here is what it is, device in between the output device, and this is the functional unit in between the output devices and CPU, in between output device and CPU, right? Here also isolation is required. Why? Because these all devices, all loads which are going to be connected to the output module, right? One input is what? For the output, this for the output module, input is what? The signal coming out from the CPU, right? So what is the output here? The output is different devices, different loads. Normally in industry, these different loads are what? Control valves, solenoid valves, motors, and some fans, heaters. These are all output device. Those are all going to be work with high voltages. Normally, anything you consider, all are going to be work with high voltages, right? So that high voltage directly you are not going to get from the CPU to control the particular devices, right? So these devices are going to be connected to the output module which are going to be work with high voltages, but that high voltages electrical fluctuations should not damage CPU. That is the first thing. In the similar way, the reverse order, how input module is going to be work. In the similar way, these are not going to be affect. First thing. And second thing is that output signal from the CPU is what? Whether it is 5 volts DC, 5 volts DC or 0 volts DC or in between any value. Alright. So, this is low voltages. This low voltages giving as an input to the output module. In the output module, circuitry in such a manner that it is this signal should be used to turn off on particular loads, right, as well as this isolation circuit is required. So, we will see later on what are the functional blocks in this particular output module also, how those are going to be function. By this time you need to understand that output module is going to be acting like a interfacing device between the CPU and output devices. CPU is going to be work with lower voltages, output devices are going to be working with higher voltages, right. So, this fluctuation should not affect the CPU. That is the reason something circuitry should be designed in output module to take care of this particular point. And second thing is that you should design such a circuit in such a manner that this lower voltage is used to turning and turning off the output device, right. So, that is we are going to discuss. By this time you need to understand that interfacing device between the output modules and CPU. This output module is going to be connected with output devices, right. So, that is about the output module, right. What we discussed, first thing is what we discussed, CPU we discussed, right. Second thing is what we discussed about the input module, and third output module, right. Now, another module is power supply module, all right. This is going to be provide power to the all circuitry whatever we have means it is going to be provide power for the CPU, it is going to be provide power for the input module, it is going to be provide the power for the output module also, right. It is providing